Hey everyone, welcome to this deep dive. You ready to unpack Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Absolutely. I think this book really struck a nerve with people, and for good reason.
Yeah, it's like Kiyosaki broke down this wall between like what we're told about money and what actually builds wealth.
Totally. It challenges that whole go to school, get a good job narrative, right?
Right. And it throws at this idea of rich dad versus poor dad. Not literally his dads, just two different money mindsets.
Exactly. Contrasting perspectives.
So we've got poor dad, Kiyosaki's own father. Super smart guy, went to college, stable government job. Sounds pretty familiar, right?
The classic American dream, work hard, get a secure job,
Exactly. But here's the thing. He's struggled financially, like his whole life.
which is what makes the rich dad side of the story so interesting.
Right. This rich dad figure, his
Yeah.
best friend's dad, never even finished high school.
And built this whole business empire.
Exactly. So are good grades and a fancy degree the only path to financial success? Kiyosaki makes you question everything.
He's not saying education is bad,
Mm.
just that it often misses the mark when it comes to, like, real-world money skills.
Right. It's like school preps you to be an employee, to work for money, but how often does it teach you to make your money work for you?
That's the key, right? It's about financial literacy.
Okay, so Kiyosaki starts learning these rich dad lessons young. I'm talking 9 years old.
The nickel-making scheme.
Yes. He and his buddy Mike, they start melting down toothpaste tubes using this plaster mold to make nickels.
And it's amazing how much this little anecdote reveals about their different mindsets.
Okay, picture this. These kids are covered in white powder, little production line going in the driveway. Rich dad sees this whole operation, and what does he do?
He encourages it.
Yeah. He's like, whoa, this is interesting. Tell me more. He doesn't shut it down immediately.
It's about fostering that entrepreneurial spirit. He saw it as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. He's like, okay, you're thinking, you're hustling. And then he explains why counterfeiting is a no-go.
Such a rich dad move.
Right. And you can imagine poor dad being like, are you kidding me? Put that dangerous stuff away and do your homework.
Such a stark contrast. One emphasizes playing it safe. The other emphasizes learning by doing, even if it means some bumps along the way.
And that right there is the essence of what Kiyosaki is trying to get across. Have you ever felt that kind of clash in mindsets? And this is where it gets really interesting. Kiyosaki throws this bomb at us. Assets versus liabilities.
Such a simple concept, but it's like a light bulb moment for so many people.
Right. It's like, why didn't I think of it that way before? He lays it out with those diagrams. Remember those?
Oh, absolutely. Those diagrams are pure gold. So simple, yet they drive home the point perfectly.
Totally. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities pull money out. Suddenly that car, that fancy gadget, they're not assets if they're bleeding you dry every month.
It's easy to get caught up in thinking, oh, I own this, so it's an asset.
Yeah.
But Kiyosaki challenges that. And, of course, the big one, the house.
Yeah, that's where he really ruffled some feathers, calling a house a liability. I bet that got some strong reactions.
It definitely goes against the grain, right? But it's about reframing how we think about it.
Exactly. He's not saying don't buy a house. He's saying understand the financial reality.
A house is often your biggest expense. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, upkeep, it could be a huge drain.
And if all your income is going towards that asset, are you really any further ahead?
It's the rat race all over again, just with nicer curtains. It's about asking yourself, what's my money actually doing for me?
Right. Is it building my wealth or just maintaining a certain lifestyle?
Exactly. And Kiyosaki doesn't just stop at personal finance. He dives into the world of corporations, which, let's be honest, can seem a bit intimidating.
It can feel like, okay, that's for the Wall Street guys, not for me. But it's important stuff.
Totally. He gets into the history of taxes and how the system can feel rigged against those who aren't already wealthy.
Right. And he sees corporations not as evil empires, but as a legal tool that the rich have used to protect their assets, to reduce their tax burdens.
It's about understanding those rules, even if you don't love them. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. And Kiyosaki uses this great example, Ray Kroc and McDonald's. Most folks think burgers and fries.
But it was the real estate.
Exactly. He realized that owning the land under those golden arches, that was where the real wealth was.
Talk about thinking outside the bun.
Yeah.
He understood that owning assets that generate income, that's how you win the game.
And it highlights this idea that financial literacy isn't just about budgeting or saving, it's about understanding how money works in the bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's about expanding your financial toolbox and knowing what levers to pull.
Okay, so speaking of expanding our toolbox, Kiyosaki lays out these 4 key areas of financial intelligence. He calls it your financial IQ, What are those again?
He breaks it down into accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law.
Okay, those are some big ones. And he's saying everyone needs to be fluent in this stuff, not just like Wall Street types.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your financial well-being, no matter how much money you're starting with.
So, like accounting, I get nervous just hearing that word. Does he expect us all to become accountants?
He wishes. But no, it's about grasping the basics, understanding financial statements like what's your income, what are your expenses.
So it's about being financially literate, not just earning money, but knowing where it goes.
Exactly. And then there's investing, putting your money to work for you instead of just sitting there.
Right, like making your money make more money. But that can feel like a whole other language.
It can. But there's so many resources available these days to help you learn, no matter your starting point.
Okay, that's good to hear. What about understanding markets? That sounds pretty intense.
It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Hmm.
How supply and demand influence prices, how different markets are interconnected.
So like whether it's the stock market or even just the price of, I don't know, groceries, there are these forces at play.
Exactly. And the more you understand them, the better equipped you'll be to make smart decisions.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the big one, the law. This feels like we need a lawyer just to talk about.
Right. But seriously, it's about knowing how to protect what you earn, using legal structures to your advantage, understanding tax implications.
So it's like knowing the rules of the game can help you play it smarter, even if you're not a lawyer yourself.
Exactly. You don't need to be a legal expert, just savvy enough to not get taken advantage of.
That's a good point. Now, I'm going to be honest. All this can feel overwhelming, especially if numbers aren't your thing.
Absolutely. And Kiyosaki gets that. He emphasizes that it's a journey, not a race.
It's about taking small steps, building your knowledge over time.
And remember, even Kiyosaki started with melting down toothpaste tubes. He wasn't born a financial whiz.
That's true. He learned by doing, by making mistakes, by trying again.
Well, that's what he encourages us to do, to take action, even if it's just one small step at a time.
So to wrap things up, it sounds like Rich Dad Poor Dad is more than just a how-to guide for getting rich.
Absolutely. It's a mindset shift. It's about challenging conventional wisdom and taking control of your financial destiny.
It's about understanding that financial literacy is key to living a life of freedom and purpose.
Exactly. And that's a message that resonates with people from all walks of life.
So whether you're just starting your financial journey or looking to level up, Rich Dad Poor Dad offers valuable insights and practical advice.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to achieve financial freedom.
And that it starts with a single step, a commitment to learning and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep taking action toward the life you desire.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wrap on Rich Dad Poor Dad. Until next time, keep diving deep.